Here she is.
It told us 4:45,
Yeah, and
an hour later, but that's okay.
note
They still.
the time is 3:12 right now. Thank you very much.
That's okay. They sell beer over there in the subway.
We are at the Amtrak station, like 2 hours early, because somebody lied to us. It's great.
It's fun.
Oh, this is just great. Look at all the excitement around us.
This place is hopping.
Oh, yeah. Where else would you rather be? And here they come.
And those Corvettes over there. Hey!
Hey,
Hey, Randy.
there he is.
We having fun yet?
Hey, we're having fun.
Having a blast.
Here we are at Paddleman. Hey.
We're gonna have to go out to Chicago and see that. Y'all get quiet.
Hey, hey. It's the New Orleans gang.
Come gather round. We've at last got into our city of the dead. This is the main. Go to any other cemetery in the US, in the world. Go look at the walls. They're a foot thick. Maybe there might be even fence, which is a half an inch or it's a smaller thick. But here, the wall to the cemetery is about 8 foot thick. It's because there are 4 methods of burial in this cemetery. 3 of them are completely recyclable and they're recycled often. And the first method, and probably the cheapest, are the wall vaults behind you. Or they're sometimes known as oven vaults. Now, difficulty keeping people buried. They used to bury in the banks of the river. Of course, that was back in the early 1720s, but no sooner had they put the body in than the next day there was a terrific downpour. The water table rose and old Uncle Harry popped out the ground and floated through the streets. They banked on, well, hang on a second, we better bury at this end of the city, because at least when the bodies come out the ground, they're going to just pop into the swamp. But I mean, the only reason we have these cemeteries is because it is a Catholic area, because Catholics will not be cremated, because cremation would solve the whole problem, because there's no body to pop out the ground. So, in the 1720s, they moved them up down to near Dauphine Street, but in 1789, the cemetery was moved here. This is the oldest cemetery in New Orleans, and this is the Varney family tomb, this Egyptian one, which used to mark the exact center, believe it or not, because the cemetery stretched all the way over there to the gas station at one point, but they literally dug it up in the middle of the last century to build a canal to link Bayou St. John with the Mississippi River down Canal Street. But again, they never got round to it, and we're just left with a road out here. And of course, according to legend, every time they dig it up, they find bones and the like inside there. So, this usually needs to bake your body to a complete little piece of dust. So if you haven't got much money, you can rent yourself a cheap wall vault out, and all your friends will come round, this big pomp ceremony, lots of flowers. A year and a day later, round come the archdiocese, open it up, pull the coffin out if you're lucky enough to have one. Now, to say Catholics will not get cremated, but usually, especially in the days before embalming at the turn of the century, just no more than dust. They will just tip it to the side. There's a little chamber at the back, some of them have, and you can just roll the dust in and you flop down. Or they'll just put them to the side and put the next person in. Now, you can see the one at the top left. There's an awful, that's one long-termly rented plaques. Now look on the bottom. I said they're recyclable. No one's going to be reburied in an old cheap one. It's pretty much treated like an apartment building. You know, when you get a bit more money, some blinds maybe on there, or get a, you know, a new microwave. Wow. Now, immigrants, when they came to town, would band together. The Italians, the Spanish, the French, butchers, bakers, army officers, And they would blend themselves into mutual societies. Now, the societies paid the, you know, if a breadwinner died, a bit of education for the youngster, a bit of medical expenses for the family, but it also paid for what the Catholics really revered the most. It paid for your funeral. Now, not only did they import the vast expenses, as I say, they wouldn't import stone for their houses and their buildings, but they certainly would for the grand sending off, their burials. Not only did they import the marble for that from Europe, they imported the architects. And here he is, his name is stamped in, Pietro Gherel, the architect. Now, this was built around the turn of 1847. Now, Pietro spent so many months growing straight up there. It wasn't uncommon for 100 people or nearly 1,000 to die in an afternoon and be brought straight into that church. A service be read and be taken straight out the back door and into a grave. That's the sole purpose that church was originally built, to save the infecting of the state.
I mean, with $15 million changed hands.
There was always
Jefferson didn't even have $15 million in the U.S. Treasury.
So this is a nice tribute. Oh, there's a big story in the news the other week. You see these big crosses. It's not too apparent, but you see the lovely statues on the top of the society tomb. They're worth a fortune. Just think how much it would be to buy that thing. Well, any other cemeteries like Metairie, a lot of the times they will have a Jesus, say 5 foot high, a Virgin Mary. Well, people are driving in their pickup trucks. And this is one of the only cemeteries that's not driving into. And they'd jump off and they would rip it off and dump it on the back of the pickup and drive it off and sell it. They raided the antique stores on Royal and they found 108 stolen statues there and they just brought them back and go and claim them. So, she was known as the widow Paris for years. She married in 1819 Jacques Paris in St. Louis Cathedral. He died 9 years later and she married into the club. People pray. Now, there's a lot of mumbo-jumbo talks about Buddha. People say break a piece off another tomb, which is why this one's crumbling. They will say put 3 X's in it, so that's to symbolize the upside-down cross. Catholic Church. So there's always, there's always a ready supply.